Without any more ado, I'd like to actually welcome Paul Wilson. Several of you actually know Paul anyway, either online or in person. And Paul is going to share with us tonight his journey to a newfound life in the social media world. And Paul has been a long-standing Rotarian, I believe initially with the Stamford Club. Is that correct, Paul?
That is totally incorrect, Martin.
Grantham, is it? Is it Grantham?
Yeah, I've been in the Grantham Club since 2011. So yeah.
And you've just started a new club, which is the Grantham Sunrise Club.
Sunrise Breakfast Club, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So welcome, Paul. And without further ado, if I could actually ask you to share your screen and
I will
share your journey with us. So hi, Eddie.
Okay, we got it.
Coming. Yeah, that's coming. Okay, so I'm going to mute everyone.
Right. Oh yeah, thanks everyone. I really appreciate the invite, Martin. Yeah, some of you will know this story, so I'll try to make it fresh. Some of you won't know it, so it will be fresh. So yeah. Social media, well, I joined Rotary to try and get involved in the community, but it ended up changing the whole thing, my career and everything. So you got to start with a dream, as they say. And if you're going to dream, you've got to dream big. So this man on the right, he had the big dream. Roger Graves, the Silver Fox, he was then the chair of the Rotary Grantham Swim Marathon, and he thought about 2012 Olympic year. Wouldn't it be great if we could have a joint round the world record attempt with all the different Rotary clubs involved? And so we ended up literally, because we were at the I think we were both at the Paralympics on the same day. We were able to pose outside the Olympic Stadium there in London with the Guinness World Record, which I've got here in the screen. So, tiny screen, genuine one. But as they say in all the best presentations, it wasn't always so. So how did we end up there? How did we end up with this story? Well, I'll just skip through this sort of overview slide. There's a few extra slides there because I've used this presentation before. But, this is how it begins for me in December 2010. So apologies for anybody who has just eaten their food or whatever, but the reason I knew about Rotary in the first place back in 2010 was purely because I took my son to swimming lessons at the local leisure centre, and you can just about see in the background there's some banners on the wall about Rotary Grantham Swim Marathon. So I thought, well, that's interesting. And at that time, I'd been working in IT for about 15 years. Now, the problem was that my little boy was 4 or 5 years old, and I'd been working away pretty much his entire young life, 3 or 4 nights a week in this IT job. So I found the desire to do something in my local community somehow. Now, it turned out that I did an inquiry online with the website, found the Rotary Club of Grantham met on a Monday lunchtime, and they did all this community service as well as the swim marathon. So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So I applied online, filled out the webmaster form, and they got very quickly back in touch with me. A very enthusiastic guy, Mr. Irvin Metcalf, who became a really good friend and involved with the swim marathon, but at that time didn't know him from anyone else. We met up, he invited me along, came as a guest. As a traditional club, I found it a bit strange that I was really, I did my research, I really wanted to join, but it took a few weeks to actually get through all the various processes of coming along as a guest. But anyway, yeah, I was the first person to join from an online inquiry in January 2011. And that's a month before the annual swim marathon takes place. Now, the swim marathon in Grantham has been running now 26 years. It is the biggest local charity event in the town. It's also one of the biggest swim marathons. I think there's one in Guernsey and just off the coast of the UK, but there is no other bigger swim marathon. Every year they get something like 1,700 participants, the majority of which are school kids and local schools. 3 days long it runs for, and all the money, importantly, goes to local charities. So everything that's raised, the people that take part know that it's going to support people that they know and care about. Now, of course, what Roger's big dream was to actually extend that to, obviously, what's passionate for Rotarians around the world, so the End Polio Now campaign. And so that was something I learned about fairly quickly. And he came up with the idea of going around the world. And this was the thing that I personally had not, I was aware of Rotary, I was aware of Lions around towns, but I didn't appreciate that you'd be welcome anywhere in the world as a Rotary member. That was something that I found personally the biggest thing. It was absolutely incredible to think. Now, this is from when I actually went eventually to the Lisbon convention in 2013. I think I met Marilyn there and lots of other people that I only knew through Swim Marathon online. But yeah, it was just that magic of being able to connect with people. I mean, at that time when I first joined, I hardly knew any of the members of my own club. It just seemed that most of them were called David, so that was a safe bet. I just said, "Why is it David?" But yeah, I was starting to get to know online people from all over the place, because of this dream, because of the idea of how on earth do we connect with other Rotary clubs about this event. Now, we got an early website up and running. We had some ideas around contacting people we knew around the world from various members' connections, emailing people. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. So Roger himself on the left now, he just didn't really grasp how social media worked. He didn't know anything about it. So he was very much well, okay, show it to me, prove it to me. Now, it wasn't that I was the world's greatest social media. I basically just got my own personal Facebook profile, and that was about it. I'd never really used social media that much. But because I was working away in IT for the remainder of the year, I wasn't going to get involved so much in the local club activities. So what I said was, well, I can have a go and try and contact people while I'm working away. So while I'm away 60 hours a week in hotel rooms, bored up a tree, I'll actually go and make some connections and try and promote this. Let's give it a go. Now, to spread the word, as I said, there's a website. If we bring that up a little bit closer, that's the website that's been there from day one, and that's important. You've got to have a website with social media. You can't just have talk on Facebook or whatever. You've got to have somewhere for people to go and register, and that was in place. But we had something like 5 sign-ups after a few months promoting this, and we only had a few months, so we had 10 months in total to get ready for the 2012 event. So I found some webinars that Rotary were running. It showed me how to create a Facebook page in the first place. That was the first step. So I created this one. And then it was just literally learn as you go. I started out by doing the things you do. Shout it to the world. I just liked every Rotary page I could find. I went through everything. I just tried to connect with as many people as I could. And I got excited when we had 25 likes for the page because they were from different countries. So I'm like, yeah, there's at least 10 countries interested. And I'm talking back to my Rotary. They're like, really? Okay, yeah. But the main thing was that it was the discovery for me was finding that there were things like fellowships. There was a Rotarian Social Network Fellowship, Rosneft. I thought, well, this is amazing. People are already into this stuff. But what it turned out was the most important thing was to find really well-connected people. Now, everyone in the UK knows Mukesh Malhotra, I'm sure, or they will know of him. And the other person that everyone will probably know, wherever they are, is Suzanne Ray. Now, those two people, and getting in touch with them, the key thing was that they were so enthusiastic about it. They really wanted to push this. Suzanne in particular, she managed to, after a month or two of contact, she was getting 9 local clubs in her district involved. And there was a celebrity, so a long-distance world record-holding ocean swimmer was involved, which gave us another great dimension on the whole event. So that was massive, to have champions in different parts of the world, and that really built the momentum. And so along the way, we came up with the idea of putting everything on a map. So Google Maps, free to use technology, where you could say, well, here's our club and this is where we are, and that's the detail of our event. But some of the other events send through their details, and if you have it on a list on a web page, that's fine, but it looks a bit bland. It's just a list of clubs that might be taking part. You open it up and you stick it onto a map, and show where everyone is, and they can zoom on this map and they can see everything that's going on. You know, this was so powerful to get the message across to, and of course all the time we're trying to build momentum, not just with the contacts we've made, but you know, with the likes of Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland, with the Rotary International eventually, but you know, we were struggling to get clubs in our own district to take part to start with, and we had a target. For the world record, you needed over 2,500 swimmers to swim in the exact same hour simultaneously. So 12 till 1 UK time is 4 a.m. in the west coast of the US. It's 1 a.m. in New Zealand the next day. A lot of problems. Of course, the common interest is great because there's the cause to end polio and the chance for your local community to become world record holders. So there was incentives there, but it did need a lot of encouragement in terms of sharing content. So the other things we would do is we'd share videos of our own local event. Started to go onto Twitter. That was really useful to actually connect with the media, and actually once we started to make some contacts with the US, for example, the Rotary, the new CEO at the time, John Hugo, was quite keen on Twitter, and I literally was able to direct message him and say, would you be able to endorse the event straight away onto Twitter? You know, all these layers of Rotary around the world were just meaningless for this. It was like, no borders, here we go, let's get this straight to the people that could influence it. And it was amazing, the responses. So, you know, this map that we're looking at here, this is actually now after 4 years. The original event in 2012, this is everything since then, and there are going to be more events in the 5th anniversary this year in February. Sorry, next year in February 2016. Is going to extend it. So, and yeah, to be honest, that job in IT became less and less important to me once I was seeing what the difference this was all making. And literally a month before the 2012 event, I took the decision to say, well, actually, my notice is going in. I'm going to concentrate on this and see what I do next. I didn't actually have a full-on business plan of setting up my own business. That happened over the next few months. I had a bit of time out, but I ended up doing a festival that was around Isaac Newton in Grantham, and so that was a great launch point to set my own business up. But it was purely down to the way this whole event just exploded. You know, the stories from around the world, everything that happened. And it's not down to, you know, some magic that I did with social media, some amazing bit of knowledge. It was just down to the power of the Rotary family, the power of them connecting and bringing them together, regardless of where they are, in a common cause. And that's the real powerful thing. And this is a shot from the 2012 event. So yeah, you can see one or two different ones there. The top right-hand corner, this was really powerful. Raghavendra Anvakar and Nawin Junaidi, the little boy there is 14 at the time, brittle bones condition because of polio. Both of them were polio survivors. They swam in the record attempt. Now, Moin, literally a week or two before the event, the doctor said he shouldn't be able to swim. You know, he'd had 4 fractures. He shouldn't take part. He was so determined to take part, he did it. The video that we saw of that event, once it had taken place, was absolutely the most moving thing I've ever seen. That was definitely my Rotary moment, to seeing the effect. These were countries just recently recovered from polio. In Pakistan, there was an Olympic official that had got people together to actually swim there. Of course, in all over the place. We had Mexico there at the bottom, all unexpected places where people were taking part. And believe me, they all had to register the event officially with Guinness World Records. It wasn't an easy thing to do. They had to have witnesses, they had to have media stories, they had to have all of that evidence sent through to us physically in the mail. It took 3 months before we could actually announce that we'd achieved the record officially, even though we all knew we'd done it. So, and this is some pictures from what's carried on with it, really, just to quickly run through that. I have to put this one up because that's my little boy there, who is a world record holder, as he tells everyone. And that's just a few of the people in Grantham. The problem is we have the big swim marathon every year ourselves, and then we have another event, especially for the Rotary Day in to do the anniversary, so we couldn't get many people there. But this is a little boy called Peter Nagel, 5 years old. Didn't mention, but in the world record that was 4 a.m. in the US, they actually swam in the ocean. They swam at night, and they had to use glow sticks to mark the course because it was very strictly regulated by Guinness. So they had to make sure it was properly 100 meters. He didn't swim in it himself, but he's carried on and swum in it every year since. And this dog actually did swim in it, Branson the Wonder Dog, who actually saved lives and did all sorts of things. So he's it's officially 4,546 people plus a dog with the record. Thelma was 82, and she swam 5 kilometers at one of the events in Australia. And they're all doing the this close sign. So they're all doing the Empire. This is a huge pool party in Mareeba, Australia. Pretty much every video we saw of Australia was them having a sausage sizzle and then swimming a bit. And this is mowing. Now you can see the power of, I mean, it's quite extraordinary. He's actually swum in national and international Paralympic events since then, I think. That's one in India. And again, the participation is just phenomenal. I'm not going to go into. I think a lot of you'll know the Suzanne Ray, the world's greatest meal story, which, you know, in it just basically used the same model of connected Rotarians on social media. Well, why not? You know, everyone can organise a meal if you can't organise a swim. You add in the knives and forks to the map, you start to see how many people are involved in this. And if you total together, since 2012 and that first event, the 2 events together, it's over 2,200 clubs that have taken part. I mean, about 1,800 of those are from the meal, but 111,000 plus people have been involved. That many countries and continents. And I think the swim marathon itself, about $800,000. If you add in the world's greatest meal and the Bill Gates money, it's over $5 million. And it just keeps growing and growing. I have to keep updating this slide. And that's what really matters, isn't it? At the end of the day, however people might think, well, there's too much going on social media or whatever situation, that's what it's achieved. And that's still phenomenal for me to think that I had even some part in that. Right, I've got just the time now because it's 7:52, so I don't know. Do you want me to go to questions, Martin? Or I mean, I've got some sort of general tips and a few best practices and whatever. But
okay, well, I think if you finished your story about the story about your journey to
yes, yeah, I have, yeah.
We can do that. We can have questions and things, and then we can have a chat, and you can bring bits and pieces in us and when you wish. So
yeah, that's great.
Have another session. What I would like to do is maybe talk to you about a specific training session on social media.
Yeah, but that's what I do for a living now, Martin. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm more than happy to do that.
Yeah. We'll pay you in kind. We'll give you a virtual drink.
Hey, I've got one of these. Marathon branded drink.
Yeah. Sorry, bear with me 2 minutes while I just unmute people. We've had 2 or 3 people come online since you started. As you probably noticed, the numbers have increased. So open to questions then. So any questions from anyone? So, okay. Scott, did you put your hand up?
No, just waving.
All right, okay. Good to see you again. Marilyn, I think you put your hand up.
Yes, welcome. Nice to see you.
Paul.
Hello.
Are you involved with Susan Ray on fundraising?
Well, basically, I mean, Suzanne's role within the swim marathon was pretty major. She was a big part of the actual team in the first couple of years, and then she's obviously focused on the world's greatest meal since then. So I do some bits for it. I do the maps for it, but I really don't have a lot of time available even to support the swim marathon. That's the thing. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I try to. I have offered suggestions over time about the amount of that goes out and this sort of thing. You know.
May I continue on? I'm listening to all you're presenting. I've been involved in the team called Strike Out Hunger since 1985. We've raised almost $1 million.
Yeah.
It's continuously going on. And, it's a Phillies baseball game, and we just involved the 5 districts. It's a private fundraising thing. It's not a Rotary thing. Mm-hmm. And clubs get points, blah, blah, blah. So the question is, do you think I should make this go global? Like yours was a private event. I mean, local event.
I mean, my view is definitely that when you get the window on the world and you see all the events that are happening around in the various clubs through social media, there are so many of them that could go global. And I think, that's what I'm trying to sort of get across to people is and I haven't covered it today, but the best practice way is to actually do that in the right way to get you've got to get people locally who champion it, and then that really spreads the word. It's things like that. But yeah, everything's got a potential. I think it's so important that if we have these events that we do. I think there's enough connection now between all the Rotary clubs to enable any event to really be pushed out there. I mean, if it's a really great idea, why not? I mean, that's the thing.
Okay, well, I may contact you privately then.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone got another question?
This time.
And David, and then I'll come to you, Scott.
Okay.
Oh, hi. I know about Facebook because, which I still find even now a little bit time consuming.
Yes.
Another part of social media, I understand, is Twitter.
Yes, definitely.
And that appears to have passed me completely by.
Oh, I'm me.
What are the advantages of Twitter over Facebook?
Well, I would see them as 2 things that can work really well together. In my experience with the swim marathon, we started with Facebook and then we brought Twitter into it. Now, Twitter is more for making connections in the first place. Facebook's better for discussions and feedback and comments and getting community interaction. But what Twitter will do is it's very much used by media and journalists and writers. So actually any event you want to publicize, you can get quite influential people. So it's not about creating a huge audience yourself, but tapping into the network that's there to spread the word. Twitter is really effective. For example, we had an ambassador who's a Paralympic swimmer. She followed us on Twitter. I simply had to send her a message back saying, would you be interested? And through 140-character tweet, he became the ambassador and has been for the last 5 years. So it can be a really quite simple way to join things together as well. So, every social media training session I ever take, there's always some people that go, Twitter's, I'm not quite sure where I use it. Now, there's plenty of ways to actually get more out of it and just do little bits at a time. That's the thing. You don't want to spend hours and even minutes on it. Just a few times a week, build up an audience in the right way, and it can be really effective.
Scott, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. Yes, good evening, folks. Good evening, Paul. Enjoyed that. And obviously, you've had a huge success I missed the start, but you've evolved from being involved in IT and picked up the baton with the social media to make sure the swim marathon went ahead. So you left your job before swim marathon started, didn't have a plan. Yeah. So what became the plan, and what is the plan now? And for all of us here that are drinking champagne to avoid getting Alzheimer's, as per the news today, seems like a reasonable idea.
That sounds like a good plan.
For all of us that are in that zone, how about telling us? Really, I mean, it's obviously been a huge success, but I'm sure many of us here, some are retired, but some are still in business and quite interested as to what an overall strategy would look like for a plan, or for a business.
Yeah, for a business, okay, social media is a waste of time. That's the first thing to say. But the reason I said that is because social media without the bit, it's called marketing. So social media marketing has to be your approach as a business. So you have to have a strategy, you have to definite techniques around how you put your profile out there online, so how you get unique selling points across, how you build an audience, and then how you engage in the right way. And so many businesses will just go on there and say, we're on social media, but we don't really know how to use it. It's the same approach for a non-profit as well. If you want to get your profile out there, you have to do it in the right stages. Yeah, lots of mistakes I made during the Swim Marathon project, trying to reach everyone straight away and trying to go viral. It doesn't happen. You've got to build relationships, and that's the business part of it, definitely.
Okay. So everybody's talking about content marketing, whether it be for having a charitable event or whether it be for building a business. Yeah. And it seems to me that content marketing would not be the same on LinkedIn, on Google+, on Twitter, obviously for all the reasons, although there's 4 photographs on Twitter, as it would be on something else. So do you then have a different strategy for what you're actually seeing and doing on each social media areas? And how do you do that?
People think about social media and they think about the media immediately. So LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, which platform should I go on? The first thing you actually want to think about is the market. What are your customers actually looking for online? What are they searching for? Step into their shoes. What is your niche? Who are you trying to actually reach? And you get that clear in your mind. Then you get your message as to how you respond to the challenges that they face. And then you pick the right platform. So if you pick LinkedIn and Twitter, that's good for business to business. Because Facebook is more if you're selling to consumers, selling to the public. There are little rules like that, but the main thing is just pick 1 or 2 platforms maximum at a time, not trying to set up on each one and get the most out of those, and understand that there are different age and demographics and all those things. LinkedIn is professionals, 25 to 55. Pinterest and Instagram are much more about visuals and but really only 1 or 2 of those at a time would be my advice.
And the same if it was for a charitable event. Start slowly, pick 1 or 2.
And exactly. And what you want to do is the people that do respond to you with a charity or organisation, they become your champions. They're the ones to focus on. Don't try and reach everyone with every message. Make sure you build those relationships with those people because they can spread the word on their networks. You don't need to invent the wheel. If there's people out there who've already got big audiences, like some of the Rotarians I connected with, suddenly introduced me to thousands of people. It's like, well,
that's the problem. I'm on LinkedIn, but I get too many connections and too many friends on Facebook. But I find it a bit of a pain. I know that goes against the trend, and Martin, perhaps I am a bit of a Luddite. But
I typed in a private chat and said Luddite to it, just so everybody knows. But no, I think one of the things I would say is you're quite right. I don't think you as an individual necessarily have to actually engage in loads and loads of social media. I think it's only if you actually have a purpose for doing so. I mean, and I think a lot of so it's about a purpose for doing it. I mean, I got involved in social media much more because I started with Eddie, the e-club, and because of that, we actually more or less had to actually engage with it, and I found myself more and more engaged. And,
but sometimes the question of how do you stop it? Because I agree. I'm still getting requests from people to do some bookkeeping accountancy for them, but I don't want to do it. I'm retired, thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, you have to say, for example, my LinkedIn profile, I still had stuff about my old job on it. And I was still getting recruitment companies contacting me, and I had to sort of cut down everything and make sure it was clearly understood. But yeah, if you just accept invites from everyone that's in your network, you'll get a sort of random collection. What you want to be doing is being proactive and finding the right ones you want to connect with, and just try to cut out the rest of them as much as you can. I know it's difficult because you just seem to be bombarded sometimes, I know.
Well, a couple more questions. I've actually got a question, Paul. You said that you made the brave move of actually giving up your job, and when you did that, did you actually foresee that perhaps it was an opportunity that you might develop into what you're doing now, or did that just sort of happen? Because
at the time when I was going to take 6 months off, go to the Olympics and do all that, and I thought, well, luckily, the month afterwards, this festival started, and it was a voluntary role, but promoting on Facebook and Twitter, first ever Grantham Isaac Newton celebration, and it went really well. It made me think, well, it's not a topic that I'm naturally comfortable with. Science and arts wasn't something I knew a lot about, but I managed to do it well. And then I thought, well, actually, it could be done as a business to set up as a a variety of services, but doing social media management, training, and other things. And then over the last couple of years, I've really just formed that into training and focused on that bit. But yeah, I was very much in the dark when I set up the business. I had a couple of customers lined up, so I thought it'd be all right till Christmas. And then I went to some networking, and I got some more work, and I just managed to carry on. But luckily, there was enough money in the bank to let me take that jump. Otherwise, my wife is still reminding me constantly that I said, I'll go back to IT. I'll go back to IT. So
yeah. So when you actually made that decision, did you set yourself out a proper plan and go through it and know clearly where you're going to go, or did it just sort of emerge?
I wish I could say yes, Martin, but the plan evolved. But yeah, no, I knew it was something that I wanted to do every day I woke up. I wanted to do it because it made a difference, and that was it.
Right.
And
I presume it's been successful because you're still doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's taken a few years to get to the position now where I've got a lot more contracts and regular work with training companies and whatever, and I'm doing a lot more online as well. So I've got all the YouTube and all the other stuff I can do. But yeah, it's been a real event. But like contrast with the 15 years of IT, none of that really felt like much of an achievement.
Any other questions, Stuart? You want to?
Yeah. Paul, I don't know if you can hear me all right, actually, because I was having problems on the iPad, so I've come to the iPhone. Your page that you showed us, is that actually a page off your own personal Facebook, or is this one you set up separately?
Yeah,
the reason I asked,
a separate one for the event. Yeah.
Sorry, the reason I asked this is that I run a charity a branch of a charity in Norfolk, and I've got a Facebook page which is a page off my own one. But it worries me that if something happens to me, it sort of dies with me, so to speak.
Yes. Well, the advice, I mean, it's difficult because you really do need more than one administrator for a page if you can find that person, but it's difficult. Yeah.
But you didn't set it up as a separate thing in its own right. It's very difficult to set up a business on Facebook, isn't it? I think. Or it used to be.
It's relatively straightforward. It's difficult to keep getting traffic to your business page because people on Facebook get bombarded with what their friends are doing now. Facebook are very much about showing your friends and also paid adverts. So it's hard to get a profile out on Facebook without paying some money for adverts and stuff. But yeah, you can certainly set up various pages. You know, that's the thing. You've got your personal profile. That should never be a business profile. Anything you can add friends should not be a business profile. Basically, a page is just something you can like and be like a website, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, time's pressing on, so we could say thank you to you. I'd like to call on Ivan, if that's okay, Ivan, for you to just give a vote of thanks to us.
Well, thank you, Martin. Paul,
Yeah.
you're opening my eyes to what is out there on this computer. And I've played with computers since, I started programming with OS 9.
Right.
It jumped from basic to OS 9 long time ago. But this is all new to me. So, very interesting. I missed you in Lisbon. I was there.
Oh, were you? Oh.
I was in Lisbon. So, Paul, I've learned something tonight. Well done. A lot of effort. And I appreciate it. And I hope it continues. And I hope you do well in your new career.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. One of the things we do now is we just sort of rabbit on, and anybody says whatever they want to say, and you can feel free to stay free to be.
Happy to say, yeah, definitely.
Join in, and we then start to use our toys to actually tell people they're boring. So I shall go and get mine.
I mean, James, how's the man flu?
Who was that to, David?
James.
The man flu is good. The man flu is pretty much gone.
Good.
It's that champagne that you're doing. It's the champagne that sort of helps to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Trouble is, you got problems coming with Abigail tomorrow, haven't you?
Is it Abigail or Kate?
Abigail. That's the
Abigail.
storm that's coming apparently to Scotland.
That's our first one for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they're gearing up for it. The warnings are out tonight for it for tomorrow and Friday.
Oh, of course, it won't get across to us.
No.
You'll take it all out before it gets to us. We should just have a gentle break.
Caroline, you can just chat now. Eddie looks like. Oh no, Eddie's there. Eddie, are you in?
Yeah, I thought I'd share with you where I've been today. I'm actually in central Brittany in France for the week. And today being Armistice Day, we got invited to the local commune. Well, it wasn't a service, just laying wreaths at the local war memorial, followed by a lunch. And lunch was 5.5 hours.
Wow.
With wine flowing. And I mean, to be honest with you, I'm British. I'm fed up after about 1.5 hours. But 5.5 hours for lunch. We started about 12 o'clock and got home at 5:30. And they certainly know how to do it. And we were one of the first to leave, so they're probably still there now. Enjoying it. But it was good fun, though.